Well, good afternoon and welcome to BBRC Britain and English. Well, thank you very much for joining me here today and a very warm welcome to you. Well, today I'd just like to talk to you about a few things, one being culinary interest, another being a little bit about retail and charity shops. And we've talked about retail before, and this is more about charity shops and not-for-profit organisations and voluntary. Well, next week it's Holy Week, and you remember last year I did a session on Holy Week leading up to Easter. So if you want to look at that, do refer back. It's still on the channel in the content, so have a quick look. Well, any of you from abroad, and I know some of you are, who'd like to visit England might say, oh, well, what's on the menu in England? What do you normally like as a meal? What's the local delicacies? Well, every place has its own particular interest. For example, up north there's the hot pot. You've got Eccles cakes, you may realise. You've got particular interest and delicacies in Wales and other things. And if you go to places like Devon, there'll be something else as well, like the cream tea. And far west you'll have the Cornish pasty, but make sure it is Cornish. But otherwise you've got Lancashire hot pot, like I say, and other things. There's also nationwide, you've got Sunday roast, which is usually roast chicken, roast beef, roast lamb. You've also got cottage pie and shepherd's pie, and then good old casserole, which my grandmother might have produced. So do try those out. Over the years, since about after the war, the 1950s, we've had various, shall we say, international cuisine has come in as well. So the cuisine from say, for example, India, France, Italy, and other places. For example, more pasta now. Pizzas, French. You've certainly got some French interest here, a lot of French cheeses here. But if you want to buy local, check the labelling, see where it comes from. We even got caviar. I don't know if we still have with the Russian onslaught of the Ukraine. And as I say, Indian takeaways and various other Vietnamese takeaways, French restaurants, Thai restaurants, and various others. But certainly they're on virtually every town and every city. You may not find them in the villages. You certainly should find fish and chips, of course. Fish and chips being a very popular British dish. Of course, the Chinese takeaways are not far away as well, and various other pizza takeaways and restaurants. And of course, if you go to normal pubs, the ordinary pub and restaurant, you should be able to find yourself fish and chips and steak and ale pie and things like that, and specialty pub menus of the day. And certainly there will be the general cottage pie and things like that normally on the menu. And I know people like Wetherspoons don't normally have a special menu every day. There's a special deal with a drink. Well, so do sample those. Have a good look round. Also, I'd like to say today, if you are going shopping in any town and city, these sort of things we're trying to get rid of. The plastic bag, too much plastic in the ocean, and too much plastic on the tips, and everything blowing around, causing damage, and also it can harm wildlife because ingesting it is fatal. So carry a bag around, but try and have a reusable bag, and you will pay for them in shops now about 10 to 20p, especially the larger bags for life, as we call them. I'm trying to replace them with things like this. Although there we are, you can see it says about having net zero waste and net zero plastic. You might have watched David Attenborough, who's done a series on this, certainly on the BBC, trying to promote sustainable living and certainly climate change is a big problem. So we're trying to do our bit for the environment. So you might really use one, but they should be reused over and over because they do seem to cost a lot to. So some of these do cost a lot to produce. But if you have the plastic bags, do reuse them over and over again. Now, I was going to, as I say, talk about charity shops. Now, the charity shops in this country have a lot of goods of particular interest. They have clothes. I mean, I bought this tie in a charity shop only last week. I bought about 4 or 5 ties, and I hope you like it. And the lovely ties. You can get china, pictures, you'll get all sorts of things, clothing, some of it's new. So do try the charity shops. There's various charities, from local charities, national charities. Of course, we've got the Ukraine relief effort, which is what the churches are working towards at the moment. And of course, we've got children's charities, pensioners charities, that's older people, and you've got cancer charities and all these other charities like Oxfam is very well known working overseas, and Sue Ryder with cancer. You've got animal charities, there's a few local ones called the Seven Veil, I believe. So do visit those and perhaps contribute to their work, which is usually quite intense. I've been so busy, it's been very hectic, and if you want to look up any of the adjectives I use, certainly it's been hectic, and some will say manic in the last few weeks, and I haven't produced any videos lately, but I did visit London about a month ago, and I've got a few, I've got some broadcast camera from a Steam and Water Museum in London. I'll probably put those together for you, and the Transport Museum at Covent Garden. So you might want to be interested in that. I did promise that I would try to visit a few places in the springtime and as the year goes on. Weather depending, and at the moment it's not too bad. Weather, we've had quite a bit of wind and rain, and we had a big storm just over a month ago, which was a bit annoying, caused a bit of damage. So you know the weather's quite frequent in this country, quite. You never know what's going to happen next, and of course we don't always get sun in the summer. So hopefully it will improve. And well, I hope you enjoyed this session, and I will put that together on a separate video, on a separate session. Well, certainly I'll probably put them together because there's a few introductions and information about the museums and things that I've visited. So that will be a separate session, probably just after this. So do look out for that one. And if you want to refer to anything else from the past, do look it up. And hopefully there'll be a few more places of interest to see. And anything else you're interested in or you'd like to know about, do tell me in the comments. Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.